What's up, guys? Spencer here from Combo Collectibles coming at you from FAN EXPO Canada 2021. It's day 2 and we are just about to head downstairs to check out the Avatar Q&A panel with Dante Basco, voice of Zuko, and Janet Varney, voice of Avatar Korra. It should be awesome, so let's head down and check it out.
What is both of your favorite lines of Zuko and Korra that you've performed on the show?
Varney?
That's so hard, because a lot of my favorite lines from Korra, frankly, are the advice that other people give her. And I think that's what she's meant to be, is sort of a stand-in for all of us who needed to hear those words from other people.
Or maybe favorite, most meaningful moments in the show, whether you voiced them or not.
Yeah, I mean, I love, if you look for the darkness, that's what you'll see. I'm paraphrasing, but if you look for the light, then you can find it. I think that's so true, especially, all of COVID. Like, basically, every day, if you just picked up a new Uncle Iroh quote from either show, like, it had such a deep, amazing resonance, and was so helpful to me.
I mean, the line that resonates with me personally a lot is, why am I so bad at being good? Why? I'm trying to be better.
Because you're so good at being bad.
I'm so good at being not good.
And for me, I had the honor of being able to say, let's go on a vacation, just you and me, anywhere you want, as the moment leading Asami into the spirit world, knowing that the story continues in Turf Wars, and knowing what those words would come to mean to so many people that I meet doing events and just online and all that, that is meaningful to me for that reason.
Something you mentioned made me want to poll the audience. I'm curious, Avatar has had this huge renaissance once it hit Netflix. How many of you out there discovered the show when it hit Netflix over quarantine? How many? Show of hands. Show of hands. Wow. That's interesting.
That's interesting. This is OG crowd. This is an OG crowd.
Yeah, this is most OG crowd.
This is an OG crowd.
Yeah.
But we welcome every person who has just discovered it, right?
I love it.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Avatarverse, dear friends.
So, next question. Over here.
Hi. I just wanted to say that I grew up watching with Korra, and I've had the hugest crush on Zuko since I was 7.
Hey, what's up?
Don't you dare.
I'm just teasing.
But to both of you, what's your favorite character from Avatar or Legend of Korra, other than the character you voiced, and why?
Voiced and which?
And why? Well, first and foremost is Uncle Iroh, for sure.
Yeah.
Uncle Iroh, why? Because all the feels, because of all the feels.
Yeah.
And then I hate Azula. But I love Azula.
Oh, she's a great character.
She's my I hate her.
Yeah. She's so
God, I hate her.
and great alone. So
I
wonderful and great.
hate
Yeah.
Azula, but I love her so much.
Yeah. I gotta give a shout out to Toph.
Toph.
Toph is just so fantastic.
Very powerful.
So powerful. Still, again, those earthbenders, man, their feet, they're grounded.
I know.
There's humor, there's humility, but also arrogance. It's so satisfying. It's just so satisfying. And again, to see, it's not even that there's certainly things she overcomes, but also things that we might have been taught in our lives are, that you're at a disadvantage for certain things. And I love that Toph is just like, what? No, you're the disadvantage. Like, I can do this, and this. Like, I'm good. I just love that. I think that's wonderful.
And also, very controversial. I love Jet I like Jet. I know Jet got problems.
So you know what? You see Jet and you see Rufio.
Jet's cool,
going
man.
on
I like
there.
Jet. I like Jet. I don't agree with everything he's doing.
Yeah, you see Jufio, I think.
I know. I see what's going on.
Yeah.
I like Jet though. Jet's cool.
Next up back here.
My question is, this kind of comes to the promo, I guess, but you can know the Kickstarter funded, RPG for Avatar The Last Airbender. Are you guys going to play it when it comes out?
I'm definitely gonna play.
I know, I was like, let's hand it over. Let's
Hand
do
it
it.
over,
And
let's
also, great cosplay, and great cosplay all
Shout
of
out
you.
to the Kyoshi Warriors.
But gotta give a shout out to the Kyoshi Warriors. Look at that fan. Look at that fan.
Another very powerful earth-bending avatar.
Go for it.
But also, our love
Oh yeah.
down here.
Oh, we're gonna.
She remembered.
you remembered it? Okay, cool. We'll come back to you next. Go for it. I got some.
Hello, this question's for Dante. It's also about not Avatar. Do you mind?
Sure.
Oh, okay. So I can't possibly imagine what it must have felt like to be able to work alongside someone like Robin Williams. Do you have any stories about him?
Yeah, man. I was definitely gonna say. You know, I love people talking about Robin Williams because he's amazing. He's a legend. He literally, you know, he's gone too soon. Rest in peace, Robin Williams. But he is the genie, man. He's the genie from Aladdin. He literally is magical. Whenever he was in the room, the speed of his mind and his wit and his heart's so big. He was always very loving to me, and so I got nothing but great things to say about him. He, you know, we were on set. He really taught me how to be just kind of had like catch the whole morale of the whole cast and crew and kind of keep it on his shoulders and get us through the long days. But then we also spent so much time in the makeup room just talking about poetry because I'm a big fan of Dead Poet Society before I watched the film, right? And that's one of the reasons why I became a poet. And we would talk about poetry, his favorite poems, his favorite poets. I would talk about mine. The last day for rap presents, like when you wrap a film, a lot of times you give rap presents to your cast members. And I got him this hat. That was the name of my Dead Poet Society, which was 13607.5, was me and my group of poets. And underneath the hat it said, "Oh Captain, my Captain," like from the movie. And he gave me a leather-bound book of Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. So I mean, I love Rob Williams. Rest in peace. Thank you for the question.
I lived in San Francisco for 9 years and I produced a comedy festival. And 20 years ago,
Show
when
up.
I was a teenager, he came to our very first little festival in a 79-seat theater. And he came every single year after that until he passed and hung out with the founders who were like college kids and met a bunch of up-and-coming like sketch comedians and stand-ups and just made everyone feel like magic. It was like magic.
He's like magic.
Yeah.
He's the genie. That's who he is.
Yeah, and Zelda Williams' daughter is a force of nature. She's phenomenal.
She was in Korra.
Yeah, she played Kuvira.
So real quick, before we get to this question, I've got good news, and better news. The good news is, I think this has been going really well, right guys?
There feels like there's a butt in there.
But the bad news is, this is right around the time they would tell me that we only have time for one more question. But the good news that I have to counter that is that we anticipated this, and we have an off thing in the schedule right after this, so we can go the full hour. That is the better news. We're gonna go for another 20 minutes.
This has been a roller coaster. Okay. And that's it. There's no more butt after that.
That's it. That's all good news from now.
Fantastic.
All right, let's go.
Hi. I was wondering what your guys' thoughts are on the Avatar or The Last Airbender movie, as well as the possibility of an upcoming live action.
I've never seen the live action movie.
I've also never seen
Everyone told me not to the second it came out, and so I didn't.
But I will, maybe. I was thinking about watching it on my Twitch channel with like fans and stuff, and
Yeah.
then I heard we can do a drinking game or something and just kind of get turned up watching the movie. I never watched the film, but like Mike and Brian said, don't watch the movie.
They also said don't watch the movie, yeah.
A lot, but someone always brings it up at the Q&A. I always think of it as the Voldemort movie. It's like the movie that shall not be named. But I mean, that being said, I want to watch the film. I still think M. Night's an amazing director and filmmaker. And I like to pose out to like the audience that hate the film. I'm like, you guys, you got to realize I understand it's something that we love, but realize that at the end of the day, it's hard to make a good movie. It just is. It's hard to make a good movie, and I can prove it to you because think about all the movies you saw last year and think about how many were actually good. And then you're like, oh yeah. So we're not gonna blame M. Night for all of the disaster it became. It's hard. So hopefully in the future we can see some more cool things coming up in the Avatar verse, Mike and Brian. So we have a lot to look forward to.
So what are we Right over here.
Hey, thank you very much for being such a big part of my childhood. I appreciate it. Kind of a short two-part one here. First is for a beginning voice actor, what's a good place to start with auditions and finding ways in? And the second is a little personal. Is during your time of recording the show, is there a particular song or album that you listen to that really ties you to the character at the moment?
That's a good question.
That's a great question. First of all, your voice sounded pretty good when I was listening to it right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as voice acting goes, it's hard. You know, I'm always like, become a good actor, go to acting school, and just become a good actor. And like we both come from on screen, and then voice acting opened up to us, and we hop back and forth from voice acting to on screen acting and podcasting, obviously now. So it's just storytelling. Like it's a craft. Go and learn your craft, and then you kind of pursue from there. And beyond that, if you want some real specific notes, go to D. Bradley Baker's page. He has an FAQ about how to become a voice actor. Right?
And
It's
it's
just
the name of the
iwannabeavoiceactor.com.
I want to be a voiceactor.com.
It's
I
really
want
great
to
stuff.
be. Now that I want to be. That's what it sounds like.
We have to
I want
enunciate.
to be a voiceactor.com.
Right.
It's so great. It's such a tremendous resource. He just keeps adding to it all the time. But yeah, I echo what Dante said, and I say always take an improv class if you can. Even if you don't,
Yeah.
even if you're not interested in acting, if you're interested in writing or directing, or even just feeling more comfortable talking to people for the first time, there's something so freeing about
It's true.
doing improv. It just, your mind works faster. I think you give yourself permission to fail and still get better. And then also, it gives you the flexibility. A lot of time in voice acting, maybe you rehearse something because you want to do a great job and you're auditioning, and so you have your idea of how it should sound, and then you get there and they go, that's great, except you did a high voice, we want a low voice, your character sounded sad, we want the character to actually sound kind of happy. You need to have the flexibility to throw everything away and start over, and that can be really intimidating, but I think improv gives you the permission to be free to do that. So I love to throw in a little improv mix too.
That's a good note. And also, what songs were you listening to
Oh my
during
goodness,
this time?
I do.
What
I mean,
was
I might have
getting
been
you hyped?
listening to the Avatar soundtrack of the animated show. I don't know.
That's a good I mean, when we did Avatar, it was like mid-aughts, like 2005.
New Kids on the Block were super popular.
No.
The Beatles had just come out.
I think actually, what comes to my mind, because I did some episodes here in Toronto, because I was shooting Take the Lead at the time I was doing it. I remember, I think I did Zuko alone while I was in,
Appropriate.
yeah, when I did, I don't remember the storm up here. I just remember yelling a lot. And I actually, when I was here, I think I remember listening to a lot of Kanye West College Dropout and Common's like Water for Chocolate. It's very, I'm totally like, yeah, I remember walking around the streets and listening to those two albums a lot in Toronto during that time. Yeah.
Because improv was brought up, I want to ask you a quick follow-up. One of the best encapsulations of why I love improv was put a particular way by Mark Evan Jackson, who said that taking an improv class helps you learn how to communicate with other people better and be okay with failure. How important have you found being okay with messing up or doing something wrong and not perfect every single time? How has getting used to that helped you, not just in voiceover, but in on camera, on stage, as a comedian and so on? How has that helped you get where both of you are?
I mean, yeah, you have to get used to it if you're doing something creative that you love, that other people have a say whether you get to do it or not. That's hard, and it means feeling like you failed, even when sometimes it's not even that you failed. It just was like, we wanted something different. It's okay, you know. But I think Dante was kind of being totally honest, but also teasing me a tiny bit with being like the kid who, but I felt always like I shouldn't fail, and I don't know where that came from, because my parents didn't make me feel like I could never fail, but I was one of those kids who just beat myself up if I did something.
Your parents are both teachers.
If I failed, I guess, but they were never like, oh, I expected more out of you. It wasn't that. It was coming from somewhere.
Staying up and rechecking your homework to make sure that all the answers were right?
Oh, that's definitely not me, no, actually.
You know what it is? It's
That's
like,
definitely not me. I was like, can I do my homework right before class?
no, you're just smart and like
That's very
got it
sweet.
together. So
Well, I don't know. But anyway, being given permission again to be like not great at something and to keep doing it. I always felt like, oh, if I'm not good at this thing, I'm not welcome there. If I'm not good, you know.
He lost his chair.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, if I'm not good at it, I shouldn't do it, and that's not true at all.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I think with improv and with other things, I mean, now we look at Avatar and we look at Korra, it's become these perfect little worlds and things that happen. The reality is, like you can't look at art as this precious thing. I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are visual artists and actors and cosplayers, and if you go into it thinking everything has to be perfect and it's this precious piece of thing, that's going to be very hard to make the art. More or less, you kind of create it, and then, you know, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, people are going to tell you how great it was. It's not our job. We're not critics. Like, we're not critics. We're not here to say what's going to be great or what the fans are going to love. That's not our job. Our job is to actually just be in the moment and do the thing. Like, if you have to yell, yell. If you have to love. If you have to cry, cry. Like, be in the moment. And then years from now, the critics and the fans will tell us if it was any good. But we're not even supposed to be good at the moment. We're just supposed to not be worried about that part of it. It's about fulfilling the moment at the moment. And then later on, they'll tell us if we were any good or not. And hopefully we were. If not, forget about that one. We'll do something else later on.
All right, guys, just finished up with the Q&A panel and coming back up to the room to grab a bite to eat, but that was a ton of fun. It was really cool seeing Janet and Dante talk about Avatar. You can tell that they are genuinely fans of the show, which is not surprising. It's one of my favorite animated shows. I think it's amazing. It was really cool seeing them talk about some of the characters and story arcs and stuff that they really enjoyed. Now, that was just a taste of the panel. I put a few questions in that I thought were really cool that we got on film. Obviously, there was more to it than that. It was actually quite a long Q&A panel, which was awesome. If you guys want to see some awesome panels like that, make sure you come down to FAN EXPO Canada. We got one day left. Sunday is the last day for FAN EXPO 2021. They've still got a ton of cool Q&A panels. The celebrities are going to be here. The voice actors get an autograph, a picture. There's going to be some great cosplay shows, and there's a ton of great shopping vendors as well, which we are going to be hitting up tomorrow as well. So come on down. If you see us on the floor, say hi. Can't wait for day 3, and we hope to see you guys there.